We're about 10 weeks removed from Inauguration Day. January 20th will be officially when Trump is sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, but that hasn't prevented him from assembling his cabinet so far. And honestly, I've been taking a look and following with some of the rumors and confirmed announcements for some of the picks, and yeah, I'm underwhelmed by some and shocked by others, including the pick for Secretary of Defense of all people, Pete Hegseth. Like that's interesting. It kind of shows you that for some of the doomers that are out there, some of the black pillars that are going, oh, I guess he's not gonna drain the swamp after all. Oh, he's compromised. Oh, he's owned by foreign country A, and it's always just gonna be about. Oh, just shut up. You are totally worthless. Your commentary means nothing. Just go back and goon yourself into oblivion. Your opinion doesn't matter at all. But of course, I hear some names that are getting floated around out there, and at least at time of recording, the confirmation that Marco Rubio's Secretary of State, I mean, it could be worse. You could get Mike Pompeo again. Like, I'm not thrilled by it, but for that position, you kind of need somebody who's got a little bit of tenure in the United States government, has to have been around the block a time or two. And honestly, if we're taking a look at the rest of the elected Republicans in Congress, brother, that's a pool that's a mile wide and an inch deep. Kind of like the same thing that I hear in regards to who's going to be the new Senate Majority Leader is like Rick Scott. Bro, it's the better of the two Scotts for you to pick. I don't want little dolphin teeth Tim Scott kicking it around there and leading the party, but could have done a hell of a lot worse, I guess. But that's kind of where we're at this point in time, but anybody with a reasonable head on their shoulders knew that, not every nominee was going to be at a point in time where you'd have to page the base department. You'd have to hold your breath for a couple of things. One we will get to, which has been confirmed and is now, a big reason that a lot of people voted for the guy. And another one, well, I'm going to have to hold on, and I've got hope for it, but we haven't heard any confirmation of it, which is a little bit concerning, I suppose. President-elect Donald Trump stunned political observers Tuesday night by nominating Fox News personality Pete Hegseth for Secretary of Defense. Like, this is a pretty substantial post that he's giving to a relative outsider, so does that not account for anything? No? Okay. Pete has spent his entire life as a warrior for the troops and for the country. Trump, 78, said in a statement, Pete is tough, smart, and a true believer in America first. With Pete at the helm, America's enemies are unnoticed. Our military will be great again, and America will never back down. The choice for Hegseth was an unorthodox pick, with a field of contenders that included Senator Joni Ernst, who earned a favor in military circles for working closely with the Pentagon on defense legislation. Would you have preferred that he picked another woman? Like, is that what you wanted? Or did you want somebody who's like about as much of an outsider as you can get from somebody who's a habitual cable news enjoyer? Like, come on. Yes. House Armed Services Committee Chairman Mike Rogers, Democrat turned Republican, yes, Representative Tulsi Gabbard, who I'm sure is very likely to have a position, just not entirely sure where she fits in. Where does her expertise lie? I know that she was a part of a bunch of different councils when she was a congresswoman, but yeah, something with the military, Veterans Affairs liaison or something like that, like that'll work. And yeah, here's the thing, right? Like, I just finished my second or third read through of Art of the Deal. I just needed to refresh myself and get myself into the proper headspace of how Trump was going to be making these selections as he gets closer to the office. And it's like, he rewards loyalty above everything else. So of course, somebody who has always had good things to say about him on Fox News was going to get rewarded with a position. Something this is substantial, yeah, that's interesting. But taking a look at the other nominees, again, just a little bullet points that they have right here. Okay, Trump picks ex-National Intelligence honcho John Ratcliffe for CIA director, which I like. Okay, I haven't heard anybody chime in on this one because this has also been made, I think, Monday evening or something like that. At least that's when I seen it reported, and that's also when I'm coincidentally recording this. Monday? No, it's Tuesday evening. It's Tuesday, obviously. The news is out right now. It's the day before you see this. How about that one? Nice and sweet on that one. But John Ratcliffe, yeah, he was the guy who exposed that it was Hillary Clinton who was actually the one who was colluding with Russia in 2016. Like, he was still with Trump at the tail end of his administration. John Ratcliffe, he's a real one. He was the head of DHS for a very, very, very long time. And he's no swamp creature. I mean, he's a real one. So, of course, Trump would reward him. And the CIA director, and I mean, that's a pretty significant post. I'm not seeing anybody getting nominated for the FBI, so maybe he's going to end up following through on that idea of gutting the FBI, but that could be a decision left up to a new government agency, if you will. But Trump names William McGinley a key House counsel post. So yeah, man, just another, Fox contributor is now an advisor. Makes sense. Trump taps Kristi Noem, I bet he wants to, as Homeland Security Secretary. Yeah, that's an interesting one, and it makes a lot of sense. And well, I have my gripes when it comes to Kristi Noem, because if you remember the first round of banning men and women's sports, all of that legislation was going around. There was a sweeping mandate put on her gubernatorial desk out there in South Dakota, and she decided to veto the bill by saying, well, I don't want to rock the boat with the NCAA, and that effectively killed any momentum for her to have a run at the presidency in the future. Her protecting the borders, she was pretty strong on that stuff to begin with, so yeah, I don't think that that's a bad nominee. Trump, yes, set to select Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. I mean, you could do worse, but honestly, it's a very short list. For candidates that are worse than that, it's like, what, did Lindsey Graham not pick up the phone? Tom Tillis, John Thune, John Cornyn not want the job? Like, oof. That's another, legacy loyalty pick from Trump right there, because after the little Marco Rubio stuff in 2016 and 2015, Rubio's been reasonably loyal to Trump and has been a pretty decent surrogate, even though he's been kind of a backstabbing little garden gnome. But here's the thing about Trump: you do a bad job, you get punted from the position. I'll be really interested to see who eventually gets tapped for AG, because some of the advisor posts, some of the other, bigger named posts have been pretty decent, okay? And especially the new incoming borders are. I mean, you're not going to see a better upgrade than what we have right here.
Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation.
I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
That is Tom Homan, and he's coming to kick ass and chew toothpicks. And brother, he's all out of toothpicks. So that guy's a badass. So that's a hell of a good pick. I don't know who could possibly have any quibbles and quarbles with that. But the biggest news on the day was, of course, something that was late breaking on Tuesday that, kind of fulfills a big promise that some people were thinking was kind of a meme. And, I was in that camp for a second, but it's like, okay, you ended up getting this sweeping mandate and people were really high on your association with these two fellas. They better be rewarded. And, well, Trump announces Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy to lead the new Department of Government Efficiency. Brother, the DOGE department is real. President-elect Donald Trump continued to fill his administration at breakneck speed Tuesday night, tapping SpaceX and Tesla CEO Elon Musk and biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy to head up a new Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, that's a tag team that, if they are, in fact, keen on stripping out a bunch of government bloat, bro, you couldn't tap two better names that are at least young enough to do the job. Like, I know Ron Paul. Like, Ron Paul is great and stuff. Like, I've been well aware of him and his influence in politics and his based opinions on just about everything. But he's a man who's pushing 90, so to give him an official government post, I mean, he's probably going to be an advisor. Elon Musk has co-signed him time and time again. That seems very likely. But he's at least going to have an ear, and closest time, the most likely occurrence that there's going to be a Paul in the cabinet of Donald Trump's 47th presidency, might be Rand. I wouldn't be against that at all whatsoever. Put him in charge of the Fed or some shit like that, Department of Commerce, dab him up for that, or just a special prosecutor to go after Anthony Fauci's goofy ass. Despite the name, Trump clarified in a statement that Musk-Ramaswamy's effort would provide advice and guidance from outside of government in tandem with the White House and its Office of Management and Budget to drive large-scale structural reform and create an entrepreneurial approach to the government never seen before. That'll be fantastic, man, okay? Because those are the two people that really added an air of credibility to this campaign this time around for Trump that was very much absent the previous two times. Like, Trump in 2016 was a force unto himself. He was the proverbial wrench into the entire system. A big F you, fingers up, don't go Steve Austin double bird, son, to the entire system. And then in 2020, well, there was so much sabotage and corruption, going on that he could have been running with Jesus Christ on the ticket and they still would have taken it from him. But this time around, bro, like, there's a bunch of, oh my God, boomers and lames would say the MAGA Avengers are around. It's like, those two guys, very much a part of that, okay? Ramaswamy has a very bright future ahead of him in politics. He could end up parlaying this into something much bigger and much better. He could end up leapfrogging J.D. Vance and be the nominee in 2028. For as good of a pick, and hey, I said it at the time when a lot of people were hemming and hawing, going, well, let's say some stuff about Trump, but I stuck up for J.D. Vance when that announcement was made day one for the RNC, and now everybody's come back around to my position. So yeah, I'm feeling a little bit vindicated on that one, so that's why I'm thinking it's probably going to be pretty good. Not every pick is going to be a winner, but figure out who's right for the job. You give them enough rope to hang themselves, and if they do, you get rid of them, and then you put somebody more competent in the seat. It's not like you're making lifetime appointments here. These are all jobs fulfilled by the post as appointed by the president at his leisure. The president-elect, 78, likened the effort to the Manhattan Project that produced the atomic bomb and quoted Musk 53 as saying, "This will send shockwaves through the system, and anyone involved in government waste, which is a lot of people. Together, these two wonderful Americans will pave the way for my administration to dismantle government bureaucracy, slash excess regulations, cut wasteful expenditures, and restructure federal agencies essential to the Save America movement." And yeah, I love it. I really do love to see it. It's a classic example of don't let your memes be dreams. They will, in fact, become reality. And the other person that we're still waiting, and that might end up changing, and especially, I would imagine, at the rate in which Trump is pointing and picking out people for specific spots, I would imagine that a nomination for some spot for previously mentioned Tulsi Gabbard is very much on the cards. And then, of course, rewarding Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with something to do with the health department, if he's going to be in charge of the NIH, or something on that level. That would definitely assuage a bunch of people concerned that, oh no, it's just going to be the swamp all over again. Oh, Trump doesn't know what to do. This is one that's been bugging the fuck out of me over the past few days, okay? Idiots that are out there saying, oh, you better hurry up and buy all of your electronics right now because when Trump gets in, oh, he's going to put so many tariffs on. That's going to drive up the cost of things. It's like you are so brain dead if you think that, okay? If you think putting tariffs on Chinese imports is somehow going to affect the price of your GPUs where the chips are made in Taiwan, last time I checked, China and Taiwan, that was one conflict that didn't kick off under Biden. So still, very much different places. It'd be like saying, oh darn, we can't get any more salted fish out of Finland because there are new trade restrictions placed on at Stockholm. Like, what are we doing? Bunch of brain-dead idiots trying not to let your TDS leak out through your ear. And here's the other thing about all those tariffs. If you build your manufacturing plants in the United States, those tariffs are totally negotiable. Oh, big shock on that one. It's almost like that's what Trump did the first time around, and that's not just blanket stupidity like the way that the previous administration ran this country and the global economy into the ground. Not like that anymore. Like I said, I like a majority of the appointments that I see. Some of them really do suck, but we'll have to see how they ultimately play out. Maybe they'll be singing a different tune, or maybe their appointments will be as swift as their dismissals. But we're still 10 weeks away. It's going to get crazy. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.